Good day everyone, I'm Claire Dilantes Rodriguez, a BA2 student.
Good day again, learners. I have a quote here from Alexander Graham Bell. Let me read this to you. According to him, before anything else, preparation is the key to success. So in order for us to success in what we do or what we need to do, we need a preparation for us to present what our goals and objectives. So our topic for today is instructional learning process under lesson planning. We need to understand first what is the pre-planning. Our learning objective for today. Number 1, to understand the pre-planning graph. Of course, I'm presenting about pre-planning graphs here to help us process in making up lesson planning. Number 2, to know the advantage and disadvantage of lesson planning. Number 3, to know the strategies for lesson planning. This is the pre-planning. What is pre-planning? Pre-planning is all about making a decision or considering other things before writing a plan. At this stage, you think about what to include in the lesson, selecting resources while considering the lesson objectives and student needs. In pre-planning, we need to consider other things before having a lesson planning. So here is the pre-planning guide.
Curriculum or the standard is a type of a K where a teacher used to give the information or to produce the information to us learner. These are the 8 types of curriculum. Written curriculum. The written curriculum is the physical materials that a teacher uses for them to give the information or knowledge to a student. Number 2, taught curriculum. The taught curriculum are the types of how teachers give learnings or taught to his children about the topic. Number 3, supported curriculum. The supportive curriculums includes having the resources in a class. Number 4, access curriculum. The recommendation curriculum includes the expert resources or ideas. Number 6, hidden curriculum. Number 7, excluded curriculum. Number 8, learned curriculum. Goals and objectives. When planning lesson, goals describe the lesson's summative outcome, where student will go. So when we make a goals in lesson planning, we need to consider the question where student will go, where we need to take them for them to learn something. And the objectives describes how student will get there. How we need to bring the student from the learning that we need them to give from our topic. This includes the writing objectives. Number 1, specific. Be specific in giving learnings and knowledge. Measurable. Making a lesson planning, we need to be measurable in the time frame. Attainable. Be attainable, be active, and relevant. Everything that we say or we give to the student, it must be relevant for them to learn something. Student contextual factor. Contextual factor affecting individual student include age, gender, culture, and personal interests. Teachers should anticipate student needs based on their attribute. For example, younger student may not be able to pay attention to activities as long as older student can. So we need to consider some personal interests of our learners for them to be in a place where they wanted to learn. We need to consider the age, gender, and the culture of an individual. Learning environment and lesson location. A learning environment can be in a different area or in a different space because as long as this can give a student opportunity to learn or to gain something, any information that can be advantage to him, includes lecture, seminar, discussion, and hands-on activity. A phrase learning environment refers to the way a classroom environment is set up. Learning environment can be traditional or virtual. Like this, we are in a virtual. So, it can be in a different location or it can be in a virtual. Or a combination of virtual or traditional. The K is the student is to have a learning or can gain a learning. Lesson planning. What is lesson planning? Lesson planning is the activity which the teacher perform before the actual lesson takes place. We have three effective component. One is the objective of the topic that we need to do. The body, the whole situation that we need to consider. The reflection. The reflection is the time where we need to assist the learning of the student or to know what they gain from our topic. These are the steps for preparing a lesson plan. Below are 6 steps to guide you when you create your first lesson plan. Number 1, outline learning objectives. The first step is to determine what you want student to learn and be able to do at the end of the class. Outline learning objectives is important for us to know what the student must learn from our topic. Number 2, develop the introduction. The introduction is the first impression of a student or a learner. So we need to have an active and precise introduction of our topic. Number 3, plan the specific learning activities. So we need to plan the activities or the assessment that we need to give to the student. Number 4, plan to check for understanding. Like for example, giving a small assessment or calling some student for them to check the understanding that we input in them. Number 5, develop a conclusion and preview. Number 6, create a realistic timeline. These are the advantage of a lesson planning. Number 1, it inspires the teacher to improve the further lesson. When a teacher has a lesson planning, it inspires him to improve his thinking capability to give to student what they need to learn and input them a good knowledge. Number 2, it helps the teacher in evaluating his teaching. When a teacher had lesson plan, he also can learn what are the things that he lacked for being able to give better to a student. So a teacher with a lesson plan can reflect more in his teaching. Number 3, it develops self-confidence in the teacher. Of course, a teacher with a lesson plan has more confidence because he knows that he has something important that he wanted to teach to the children or to the student and learners. Number 4, proper care is taken to take into consideration the level of the previous knowledge of the student. We need also to consider the previous knowledge of the student or the level of their learning so that we can give them what stage they need to learn or what stage we need to cope for them. 5, the teaching matter is organized in a time frame. This is what I said earlier, that proper input in our learners. Number 6, it inspires the teacher to ask proper and important questions. So a teacher with a lesson planning can develop questions that he can ask to a student or a learner. Number 7, it provides guidance to the teacher as to what and whom he should teach. Number 8, it helps in creating the interest of the student towards the lesson because a teacher with a lesson plan can also guide. Number 8, it helps in creating the interest of students toward the lesson. When a teachers plan to have an activities or assessment, a student can be active and give interest to his topic. It stimulates the teacher to think in organized manner. When a teacher have plan, he can be organized and can teach in a smooth way to our learners. Number 10, it helps the teacher to understand the objective properly. And these are the limitations of a lesson planning. 1, in new or old situation, a teacher feels himself helpless because sometimes teacher focus only to the topic or the main goal. So when a student wanted to ask something, a teacher may need other resources or stands for that learner's questions. Number 2, sometimes simple matter become complicated. When making a lesson plan, it is too time consuming and this needs time to have a lesson plan. Number 4, teacher cannot work or teach independently. Sometimes when a teacher was to focus on his or her lesson plan, he cannot teach it teach to or taught to a student independently because he only depends on his lesson plan. Number 5, there is a lack of flexibility in lesson planning because when you have a lesson planning, when you have a lesson, when you prepare to have a lesson plan, that time you need to be in that area or in that moment that this is what you need to do when you teach to the student. So sometimes it lacks of flexibility. Number 6, the teaching process become more difficult. This is my references. That's all for today and goodbye.